Thomas Wright was a Shropshire historian in the mid-19th century, and incredibly, he claimed he possessed the Holy Grail, as referred to in the Arthurian romances of the Middle Ages. Before he died, he claimed that he had hidden this artifact, and for years it seemed that the whereabouts of what he believed was the Grail was buried with him in his grave. But he also said he left a series of cryptic clues in a book that he'd had published. Specifically, the clues were on the title page of the book. Now, at the bottom of the page, there were a series of Roman numerals. And these Roman numerals, it turned out, referred to Psalms in the Bible, each one leading to a new location on a trail. On the last page of the book, there was an illustration of a medieval castle that still exists in Shropshire called the Red Castle. This, it seemed, was the place to start the search. From where I stood by the Red Castle, I consulted the next clue that Thomas Wright had left, and it said, "Lead me to the rock that is higher than I." Well, there was only one rock in the area higher than me, and on top of it there stood this ruined archway. The archway stood on top of this really high hillside, surrounded on three sides by sheer cliffs. And when I got up to the top and stood under the arch and looked around, it was an incredible view. I could see right the way back down to the Red Castle from where I'd come. But the next clue read, "For he hath looked down from the height of his sanctuary." So I looked down below where the arch was, and there I discovered the concealed entrance to what seemed to be some sort of man-made tunnel or series of caves. The tunnel opened up into what had clearly been an artificially constructed cavern. And there was passageways going off in all directions, so basically I followed down one of the passageways into the darkness. The passageways seemed to go on forever, right into the heart of the hillside, until suddenly I found on one side of the passageway there was a chamber cut out in the rocks, and in the chamber there were a couple of statues. One of them appeared to be an eagle minus its head, and the other one that was there, obviously part of the set, was a lion. Now I later discovered that there used to be 4 statues in the cave: a bull, a lion, an eagle and an angel, but the bull and the angel had long since been removed. I continued further into the hillside, and it just went down deeper and darker. Just as I thought there was going to be absolutely no end to this passageway, I finally saw light at the end of the tunnel. Astonishingly, I had emerged on the other side of the hill, and in front of me there was this amazing gorge cut between the rocks. I followed it downwards as it cut its way through incredibly high cliffs on either side, and discovered that it eventually came out at the bottom of the hillside. There I found myself in this spectacularly beautiful valley, And I knew then that I was onto something, because the next clue read, "They go down by the valleys unto the place that thou hast founded for them." It seemed I had to continue to the end of the valley. And there, sticking out above the trees, there was some sort of red stone tower, which turned out to be a church. And I recalled that the next clue read, "Ye that stand in the house of the Lord." This is surely what the clues had been leading to, the house of the Lord, a church. Astonishingly, the next 4 clues seem to be telling me exactly what to do. The first of them, "Open to me the gates of righteousness, and I will go into them." Surely that meant go into the church. And the next verse, "I looked upon my right hand and beheld." And the next verse, "Unto thee I lift up mine eyes." So I looked up, and there in front of me was a stained glass window. The window depicted the 4 gospel writers: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. The penultimate clue read, "Thou art my hiding place." And the final verse read, "I will take the cup of salvation." And the John figure was holding a cup, a chalice. Surely this had to mean something, but what? Looking more closely at the window, I noticed that above the 4 gospel writers there were 4 other images: an angel, a lion, a bull, and an eagle. And it was then that I realised those same 4 images were as stone statues in the centre of the caves, of course of which 2 now survive: the eagle, which was somewhat damaged, and the lion statue that had been fairly intact. But originally all 4 images had stood there. Now, as I'd been directed to the John figure, the one with the chalice, what was above his head? Well, the image there was the eagle. So perhaps it was within the eagle that the chalice was in. And in fact, ultimately I discovered that it was in the original base of the eagle statue that the cup was found.